Peace to all who are entering the memory mound. Take off your shoes before you come in. You are now stepping into a new sacred chamber where memory keepers speak their truth. We call it Testimonial Truth Tuesdays. These are the ones who dared to map their memory, who listened when their blood began whispering names the senses tried to swallow. Some of you may know this work as genealogy, but here in the Council of Memory, we call it memory mapping because it's not just about tracing names on paper. It's about rethreading disrupted memory, confronting the legacy thieves, and bringing the names back home. Before I begin, I want to remind everyone gathered, be respectful. The memory keepers who allow us into their personal journey are opening doors that many of us were taught to keep shut. Some of us are still afraid to look, so hold this space with reverence. The comment section is not a courtroom. It is not a space for judgment or ego. These stories carry memory scars and ancestral disruptions. We do not need strangers inflicting more. Speak with care or don't speak at all. Today's testimony comes from David, whose memory mapping didn't just confirm what his elders once whispered. It resurrected names that have been buried under government labels. This is a powerful unfolding, one that touches the Wyandot, Piscataway, Kanoi, and Blackfoot threads and sheds light on what it means to live through generations of identity disruption and ID alchemy. Let us bear witness. David says, and I quote, "My genealogical journey. I'm an inquisitive person by nature. So around the age of 5 or 6, I began to ask my family about our heritage. My maternal grandmother and her sisters always told me and my cousins that we are American Indian on their father's side. We were never told anything about Africa. When I was about 17 or 18, an elder cousin on my maternal grandmother's side told me specifically that we are Wyandot. Fast forward from 1998 to 2024, I reached out to Achila for genealogical services. Achila started research in June, and by September, she discovered my Wyandot ancestry, as I was told at age 17 or 18. Not only did she find my Wyandot ancestors, she found my fifth great-grandfather by his Wyandot name, who is mentioned multiple times in a book, and how he, my fifth great-grandfather, was coerced and converted to Christianity. And she also discovered my fourth great-uncle, who was a Wyandot chief. And just recently, I discovered on my maternal grandmother's side that I am also Piscataway Kanoi on both my maternal and paternal sides. I was also told by my elders that we are Blackfoot, which makes a lot of logical sense because my people are from the Ohio River Valley in the Piedmont region of North Carolina and Virginia. Oral history is superior to any stranger's opinion. Since I've been on this genealogical journey, I can see the paper genocide that was committed against my own family. How we went from Wyandot and Piscataway, Kanoi, to Negro, mulatto, colored, and black. Doing my genealogy has solidified my family's oral history, so I can resurrect my ancestors' truth and tell my/our own unique and personal family story. Peace and blessings. David's journey reminds us why listening to our elders matters so much. Too often, people say, "Don't trust your big mama stories," but memory mapping always starts there. Oral history is where the truth lives, even when paper records try to hide or erase it. David's elders told him who he was: Wyandot, Piscataway Kanoi, Blackfoot, And those names hold power. They aren't guesses or old tales, they are blood memory passed down through generations. When I and my team did David's research, the things his elders said was confirmed. It was documented and very much real. Yet, despite this, his family was still recorded as black in recent records. That contrast shows the deep erasure happening around reclassification. It's not just about paperwork, it's about losing connection to land, language, and identity. David's story is a clear example of how memory thieves try to rewrite his family's history, and how blood memory work is the tool to fight back. This work is not about trends or performance. It's about reclaiming truth, restoring identity, and honoring the elders who kept that truth alive when everything else tried to bury it. David's story reveals powerful truths. Oral history is not folklore, it is living evidence, a sacred archive, and ancestral technology passed down through generations. The identity terms forced upon indigenous people were never neutral. They were soul consuming labels meant to dissolve connections to land, nations, and birthright. Christianity was rarely a choice freely made, it was often coerced and enforced under threat. When reading about forced conversions, the questions must be asked: at what cost? Under whose authority? David's journey is not only about discovery, it's an act of remembrance. And with remembrance comes with responsibility to speak the truth, restore the record, and honor the ancestors who were silenced. If you feel called to share your memory mapping journey, you can submit your testimony using the Google form linked in the description box below. Each week, we gather around the mound, read one story aloud, and honor it as a part of the Great Recalling. For those who haven't yet started your journey, if your memory is stirring, if your dreams carry whispers of memory displacement, or if you feel a tug that something important is missing, this space is for you. Also, be sure to purchase my book, Discovering American Genealogy, especially if you're new to memory mapping. I help people who are new to memory mapping get started in their journey, and I also give a list of records to look into if your ancestors were identified as Black throughout historical records. You can find my book, Discovering American Genealogy, on Amazon. I also have it linked down in the description box down below. Listen closely to the elders who still carry the truth. Don't let systems have the final word on who you are. David's story reminds us that every senseless lie, every label forced on his ancestors could not stop the truth from rising. Here we are, still rising. Peace and blessing to David and to all who walk the sacred path of memory restoration. You are never alone in this circle.